What is going on, my dudes? Dudettes is showing you this Nesutarium. So today I've just got my little Brazilian Brazilian rainbow boa. Yeah, she is absolutely gorgeous. I've actually had this girl since about last September, maybe early October, but I've just kept her on before I wanted to make a video on her, just to make sure, you know, that she's got a little bit more size on her, so you can actually, you know, see the snake. Yeah, it's quite difficult making videos with tiny little snakes. Her iridescence is not coming up on the camera because we're indoors, and that's just the way that is, unfortunately. So I'm just gonna go over the care and stuff of the Brazilian rainbow boas. Some people may disagree with how I keep my Brazilian, and others will agree, and so on and so forth. You know, make sure you do check out your care guides as well before just listening to random people on the internet like myself. You know, you've got to do your own research, and you know, do a little bit of reading, and you know, you can always research what the actual environment is of where these guys live as well. I find that's really useful. So Brazilian rainbow boa care. Now, I like to feed her most weeks, but I do actually give her the occasional week off, just because boas do have the slower metabolism, and I'm not really in a rush to get her up to size or anything. I just want it to be nice and healthy. So that's how I like to feed her, and then you just feed her one appropriate prey item, about her width every every time. Sometimes I go a little bit smaller, sometimes I go slightly bigger, you know, varying the prey items and stuff. That's all good. You know, it keeps the snake on its toes a little bit. When she gets bigger, I will also feed her, you know, a mixture of mice, rats, chicks, and whatever else I can get a hold of. But for now, she's just on mice, because the size of her doesn't really allow for much variation on prey items. You know, and it's always best as well, if you can, to go for the oldest prey item you can. So for example, you're better off going for a mouse that's say 6 months old and properly big than something like a small wiener or something like that. That's a similar size rat. Yeah, because the older mouse is going to have more vitamins, it's going to have more protein, it's going to have less fat. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, as far as temperatures go for these Brazilians, they do like it a little bit cooler than a lot of other snakes. So I keep mine at around, I'm trying to change Fahrenheit to Celsius now. I keep mine around 88 hot and then about 80 cool, something around there. Nice humid hide in there as well. Good sized water bowl. You can actually put a water bowl at the hot end and the cool end, just to raise the humidity up a little bit as well. I keep her on this stuff, this bark. Okay, it's just little bits of bark. It's just like this bark. Okay, that's where I like to keep her on. And then for the humid hide, there's just sphagnum moss in there, pretty standard stuff. So she's got a cool hide and a warm hide then, and the one water ball. I don't actually have a water ball on each side, but that is a good idea, something to do. As far as spraying the snake down, I don't tend to find I need to do it every day. You know, you can do it every day if you do a light spraying or whatever. You know, you can do that, but I don't find I need to. And something else I've noticed that's contrary to popular belief as well, that I've found, is you don't actually need to limit the ventilation to keep these guys nice and humid. I've got a very good ventilation on mine. It's not completely open top, but it's got a good bit of ventilation in there. The reason why I say that point on ventilation is because it's really easy to limit the ventilation to increase the humidity, but then end up with stale air inside the enclosure, which is really harmful for the snake. And you don't really want that. So as much ventilation as you can possibly give, with, you know, keeping the humidity high. That's what I recommend for these guys. And you know, as she gets older, I'll probably have slightly less ventilation, but then keep her on paper maybe. That's something I'm thinking about doing. I'm not saying I am going to do it, but it's something to think about. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for these guys, really. They're not as sensitive as people make out. I've literally never had not a full shed with her. They've always been full sheds. She sheds regularly. She's not been nippy or bitey or anything like that. And I haven't really made much of a big deal of handling her. You know, I do find if you work with the snake even a little bit, they do calm down. You know, some people report that when Brazilian rainbows are this sort of size, they can be nippy and darty and whatever else, but I mean, look at her, she's so calm. Really couldn't ask for a calmer snake than this. Okay, she's just lovely. She is quite active. Before I turned the video on, she was very interested in the camera there, in trying to climb on her and stuff, but you know, now I'm holding her a little bit further away, she's not so interested. They will climb for sure, so if you can give an enclosure with a bit of height, that will be better than not giving any height at all. Something like a 4x2x2 would be fine for these as adults, and as babies, just use your own common sense on what sort of tub or whatever you want to use. I do find tubs are better than bigger enclosures for babies like these, because they're less likely to escape through vents, and obviously it does help, you know, keep track on the snake whether it's pooing or not, because the poos are awful little, and in a bigger enclosure it's hard to notice. And it's quite a few benefits to keeping a small snake in a smaller enclosure, but I'm not going to get into it too much here. So that's pretty much it, really. As far as adult size, these guys can obtain up to 7 feet. However, that is very, very rare in my experience from what I've seen of other people's. Most of them are about 4.5, 5 foot. But I have actually seen one example of a really, really big rainbow boa. I'll ask the guy's permission to upload it. Now, see, I don't know if you can see her or not, it depends if I've got permission. But that gentleman there, he owns a local shop, and he's actually who I got this snake off. It's a very good shop. It's a small shop, but they're nice and friendly there, and they do produce some nice stuff, and you know, they're always very helpful. So shout out to Reptile Cymru. And that's it for me, really. I hope you've enjoyed this video and seeing this little snake. Any questions about Brazilian rainbow boas, please let me know in the comments. I do try to always reply to comments. Anything I've left out or whatever, just let me know. Oh yeah, one thing I can think of is breeding. If you are going to try to breed these guys, wait until they're older. Just to give them a little bit more chance to mature. They do have slightly slower metabolisms than some snakes. So 4 to 5 years would be better. And a bigger snake, you know, bigger female can have up to 20 boas in a litter. You know, sometimes more, sometimes less, depends on the size and age of the female. But yeah, definitely wait that extra time to breed them if you do want to breed them. Obviously I haven't bred them, but that's just from what I've read, and you know, it's always good to give them a little bit more time than say 3 years. So anyway, that's actually it now. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.